What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with DFS, and in today's video, going over Week 15 cash plays. 13-game slate. We got some cold weather in this one. It seems like only 2 games are truly going to be affected by either rain or snow, and that's Washington, New York, and then Seattle and Indy seems like the 2 most likely games to be affected by, rain, snow. The other games, we're going to have some games that are very cold, maybe some games with some stronger winds, but we've seen success. I mean, the Cincinnati-Buffalo game can show that even with some bad weather, you could still have a very high-scoring game. So let's get into it at the quarterback position. Quarterback, for me, is larger this week, and that's just because I think we have such a stacked slate of options. So for quarterback going down, I'm going to start off, I think it's interesting, is Matt Stafford 7K at home against Detroit. It's a dome game. Matt Stafford's put up 300 plus yards in all 3 games, or averages over 300 yards in all 3 games against Detroit. Detroit's secondary kind of banged up. Devontae Adams has missed practice so far. This video is going up Friday morning, so I don't have the Friday practices, obviously. So I'm going based off of what I know right now. That's Devontae Adams has not practiced. So I do like the Matt Stafford / Puka Nacua stack. But up here, yes, Matt Stafford. And then we get a little bit cheaper. We get Lamar Jackson, 6,400 Lamar Jackson. Mind you, we look at his prices all season. This is crazy that we're getting Lamar at this price against Cincy. And you go and look at Lamar's stats against Cincy. I mean, he has some of his best games of his career against Cincy. And you look at the Week 13 matchup that we just saw a few weeks ago where they get pretty much blown out. If you go and look at 2 of the plays in this game, Lamar should have had two touchdowns, right? So another 8 points, so he gets 17, which it still isn't crazy, but the game's a lot closer at that. And one of them would have been quite a large touchdown, but the Isaiah Likely to where he got the ball and then fumbled on the one for a touchback, and then the Zay Flowers was a offensive pass interference where he scored. So 2 touchdowns that got taken away from Lamar. Yes, they're on the road, but this is, yet again, a must-win for them after their loss against Pittsburgh. So at 6,400, Lamar Jackson is very likable on this one. And 2, I do want to apologize for anyone that's watched my videos in the past. I don't try to get such a wide player pool for quarterbacks, but like I said, it's just such a healthy slate that there are many options. I don't think we're going to see a stacked kind of, 30% plus own. We might. I mean, people just might go with the optimized lineup. We'll see. But Brock Purdy next, 6,200 at home against Tennessee, which I believe they have the highest. No, they don't. They don't have the highest team implied total, but it is at 28.5. So Brock Purdy at home against Tennessee, who, if you watch that game, I'm not going to say it was Shedeur Sanders, but Shedeur Sanders did have a really good game in that one. Now you get San Fran, who's coming off a bye week, to at that. We get a little bit cheaper here, and there's 2, maybe 3 players. I'm going to say 2 for sure. 1 I'll say for tomorrow. Jackson Dart, 5,600 at home against Washington. Washington dealing with some defensive injuries. Looks like Jane Daniels is out, so we're getting the Marcus Mariota show. Jackson Dart on the other side. I do like this game. I think it could be a really good back and forth game. The Giants are dealing with quite a few injuries defensively as well. Like I said, I would watch the weather report. If the winds are going to be strong and we're going to get some snow, we'll be cautious with it, but as of right now, I do really, really like this game. So Jackson Dart, 5,600. I mean, he's just a guy that's put up some pretty damn good fantasy numbers. I mean, even against a team like New England, doesn't have the greatest showing, but I mean, that's kind of been his floor so far. We've seen him play some pretty good defenses and shine as well. So really good matchup. And then last but not least, 5,200 CJ Stroud at home against Arizona. This one will be in a dome. Houston's offense looks really good. Arizona dealing with some defensive injuries, some offensive line injuries as well. With how good Houston's defense is, we could see Houston's offense get the ball quite a bit more. So I do like CJ Stroud as well in that one. Going on to running backs. Running back to me, watch CMC popped up limited, but I believe he should be good. You get CMC at 9K this week against Tennessee, where you just kind of saw Judkins, Sampson have a combined really good game. We're looking at one of the best weapons in football, especially in the red zone. I mean, he's up there with Devontae Adams as a red zone threat. So at 9K, really do like CMC this week. I think it's easy with some of the options, especially at tight end. Maybe some cheaper wide receivers we'll get into that allow you to get Christian McCaffrey easy in your lineups this week. Derrick Henry, another option if you want to go cheaper, 7,300. You go back to this game 2 weeks ago, 17.4, which isn't crazy. But you go to last week against a Pittsburgh defense, and you get Derrick Henry getting 25 rushes in that one. Only 10. It seemed really weird if you went and watched that game. It looked like he missed a good amount of time. I don't know what happened. Don't know if he was hurt or what happened, but he looked good and then just got kind of taken out of the game. It was Keaton Mitchell and Ali just kind of filled in from there. So watch it. But I like Derrick Henry, like Saquon Barkley as well. So if you're not going to go the CMC route, I suggest going with a Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, who are in really good spots. Vegas' defense is banged up. Even someone like Max Crosby's been limited. The one concern I do have, like Saquon Barkley looked really good against the Chargers. It should be a very easy game. They're going to go against their former quarterback, backup quarterback, Kenny Pickett, and that Vegas team. But the Philly offensive line is banged up, so that could be a concern, especially if, some of their pieces on that defensive line are healthy, meaning Max Crosby. So just be cautious if you are trending towards that. I will mention Travis Etienne at 6,500. His price point is kind of getting up there, but in a game where you're probably seeing Brady cook because neither Tyrod or Fields has practice, you expect a Jacksonville team that's at home, whose defense has had some really, really good games that just allow the offense to run the ball a lot. So liking someone like Travis Etienne at 6,500 makes sense. Obviously, they're going to use Allen. They're going to use Tootin. It's not just going to be the Travis Etienne show, unfortunately. But he does. That running back room as a whole looks really, really, really good. Continue to go down. I think it's worth mentioning Ashton Genty at 5,800. It's just the game can't get out of control. He's going to be utilizing the receiving game, which we've seen quite a bit lately. Now you're going to get Kenny Pickett in there. So Ashton Genty at 5,800, I do think is another solid play. One of the plays that I will mention, and I will mention to be very cautious, but I think could work out. If you look at DeAndre Swift at 57, Kyle Monunga at 52, if you go and look at the Browns injury report, and granted, this is before Friday, so we could get a lot of the guys that have not practiced or limited practice to a full participant. But Cleveland's defense is really, really, really banged up. I mean, extremely banged up. And not to mention that, their offensive line is really banged up. So in a game where Chicago's going to be at home, it's going to be a cold game, I look for the Bears' run game to be very successful. So if you want to take a shot on someone like DeAndre Swift at 5,700, I think it's a really good price. Obviously, for cash, it's a bit riskier, but for how the game should go, they're worth mentioning. Woody Marks at 5,600. If Nick Chubb remains out, which it looks like it might, I think it's a really good just volume type of opportunity for Woody Marks. And at 5,600, it opens up a lot. You get Tyron Tracy, who he is back in practice at 5,500. I will mention yet again with him, be cautious because someone like a Devin Singletary does exist who will get carries, but the explosiveness and ceiling is there for Tyrone Tracy rather than Singletary. Singletary is kind of more safer, consistent than Tracy. And then Devin Neal popped up on the injury report, but he's 5,300. Kamara has not practiced, so if it's just him again at 5,300, definitely worth taking a shot on him as well. Moving on to wide receivers in cash. I mean, yeah, Puka makes sense. You get JSN at a discount, and it looks like Sauce Gardner is going to be out. Like I said, my concern, one, is going to be the weather, so we're watching that. But two, this could be a scenario where you're getting Phillip Rivers in. And, like, even with Sauce Gardner out, Indy still has a really, really good secondary. Obviously, we've seen them get kind of burnt sometimes, but I still think they have a really good secondary. I'm looking at kind of Puka and Chase here at the top. Chase being cheaper, Puka kind of being in a more healthy game script to where we're probably going to utilize Puka if Devontae Adams is out, who has missed practice. It doesn't mean a guarantee, but if Devontae Adams misses, I mean, it's pretty hard to not play Puka, even at his price point. And then Jamar Chase, 8,100 as well, at home against Baltimore, to where we saw only 21 points against Baltimore when they just played 2 weeks ago, but 14 targets, 110 yards. If he gets a touchdown, I mean, he pretty much smashes then at that. So the other thing is, like, we've seen some of these really, really good games, but we haven't seen a lot of these 30-plus point games that we've been waiting for Jamar Chase, like 12 for 19, 91, 6 for 23, 161, 10 for 12, 6 for 110, and 2 touchdowns. Like, we've seen some of these games, but lately, we've just seen some good games out of Jamar Chase, but for the price point, like, we need a 30-plus point game, which is very realistic for Chase. Continue to go down. If you want to stack Nico Collins with CJ Stroud, I get it. It makes sense. He's 6,700, so it's worth taking a shot on. We're going to go a little bit cheaper, though. Zay Flowers, 6,300. Like I said, 1.6 against Cincy, but he should have had a long touchdown. He got called for offensive pass interference. Otherwise, we're looking at a 10-plus point performance out of him. And he did go up in price, unfortunately, so that does suck, but I think it's still a very fair game. Stephon Diggs is going to be clicked on only due to the fact of what he did when they played earlier this season in that showdown where he got 27 DraftKings points. So Stephon Diggs is going to be clicked on. Wan'Dale Robinson at 5,900. Yet again, watch the weather for this game, but Wan'Dale looks like he's in a pretty good spot, and the targets have been there. Like, he's getting targeted quite a bit, so you are getting him at kind of a higher price point than I would like. But at 5,900, I get it, especially if you're going Jackson Dart. I don't think you need to, but I do like it. Continue to go down. Jacoby Myers makes sense against the Jets. He's just put up some really good games since getting to Jacksonville, especially as of late. So Jacoby Myers just makes sense. He kind of fits into the Chris Olave type of thing where, like, he's priced fine, like pretty average, right? Pretty average. And you just plug him in your lineup. So definitely a look there. Juwan Jennings at 5,200 is a really, really good stack option this week for Brock Purdy. He's at 5,200. It's a really good matchup for him. Kind of, yet again, same thing. Getting him at a pretty steep price at 5,200, which is kind of a concern and going to be a turnoff for some. But it is worth mentioning. It's just a healthy game for San Fran. Down here, there's not a lot. There's not a lot that stands out to me. One of the names that I do have here, we're going to go down, and this is depending on the T. Higgins thing, but Tinsley at 3,100. Saw him against Baltimore, 9 targets in that game. He just plays pretty good against man, so I think it's worth looking at. I'm not saying lock it in or anything that like that, but definitely look at it. And then there was kind of this range of a Anai Mitchell, 4,400, kind of as a run back, although it's so scary trying to look at him with Brady Cook, but his target share is just crazy for the Jets. I mean, for a guy at this price point, 6, 7, 12, and 6 the last 4 weeks. He's 4,400. Darius Slayton is kind of very, very interesting against Washington, where his numbers aren't crazy, but if he gets a touchdown, like 4,400, he's definitely paying off, so a stackable option there. Moving on to tight end. Tight end is definitely interesting to me. You could go the George Kittle route at 5,400 if you can afford it. I think it is pretty tough to pay up for a tight end. If I'm paying up for something, I kind of want to pay for Dalton Kincaid, who's 4,500. You go and look at their matchup. 19.8, and we've seen New England continue to be bad against tight ends, so a positive matchup for Kincaid if you can afford it. But I'm kind of looking down around this range. I think Dalton Schultz at 4,100 makes a lot of sense at home against Arizona. Arizona hasn't been the greatest against tight end. His numbers for Dalton Schultz, I mean, the target share has been up. It's just depending on how the game goes, right? We could see a game where Arizona struggles against this defense, and we're just using Woody Marks, score a couple of quick touchdowns with the receivers, and Dalton Schultz isn't used. Fannin Jr., this one is definitely going to be one to watch. Cedric Tillman, I believe, has missed practice so far. I mentioned the amount of injuries to Cleveland's defense. Chicago hasn't been the greatest against tight ends, but Fannin's targets have just been pretty damn good lately for a tight end sharing snaps. And at that, David Njoku has not practiced. Dylan Sampson has not practiced. So some weapons for the Browns being out. If Njoku's out, it's pretty hard to not play someone like Fannin at 4K on this slate. I think he's a really good piece to put on. And then we get to some other tight ends that I like here. Mark Andrews at 39, Isaiah Likely at 34. If you just want to plug either one of them in and just hope you get the right one this game, I'm fine with it. It makes a lot of sense. Theo Johnson at 3,500 is kind of the piece that I'm looking at if I'm stacking with Jackson Dart. I'm looking at Theo Johnson at 3,500. I think he makes a lot of sense to me. I really like it. And then two more names, right? And yet again, I'm sorry that it's a more expanded pool than I normally have. I normally try to keep it maybe 3 or 4 on quarterbacks and tight ends. Not try to go too crazy, but like I said, we just have a lot of games, 13 games. We haven't had this high of a slate in a very long time. So if Devontae Adams is out, we get Kobe Parkinson at 3,200. His numbers are really good. Detroit has played tight ends pretty good. But for the price point, the volume that Kobe Parkinson has gotten, especially in the red zone, is why I'm looking at him at 3,200. He's kind of not being price adjusted for putting up 3 out of the 5 games he's gotten 10 plus points. So one of them 9.4. So I do really like him, especially if Devontae Adams is out. I think he's a really, really good cheap stack piece. But AJ Barner also at 3,200 is kind of the other place I'm looking at, right? Indy's been pretty damn bad against tight ends. It just makes sense for someone like AJ Barner in a game that could be bad because of weather. Kind of the short passes going to someone like Barner. So at 3,200, worth looking at as well. And then defenses, yeah, if you want to go Seattle against Indy, I think that makes a lot of sense. The Jags against the Jets with Brady Cook makes a lot of sense. What I'm looking at basically is the Colts defense. I mean, 2,200 for the defense that the Colts have been. It is crazy that they are 2,200, even against Seattle. Like, I just think they're too cheap for how good of a defense they have. So let's do a lineup. Let's throw in the Colts defense. Let's throw in CMC. I think that's just kind of where you start off at. Let's say Devontae Adams is out, so we're going to throw Puka in there. Let's go cheap on tight end. Let's say... Let's go with the quarterback, and we'll go Jackson Dart. At running back, I want to get a piece of the Houston offense, so I'm going to go Woody Marks, especially if Nick Chubb is out. Tight end, we're going to have to go cheap. So let's go. Let's go with AJ Barner. I think he makes sense. 32. Let's see if we could do this. Let's see if we can go Jamar Chase. We can. It'll still work. At flex, we're going to have to flex a tight end and a cheap one at that. So Let's flex. I want Theo Johnson in, which I should have just picked the Giants at this point. So we get 4,100 for a wide receiver. Let's see if there's anyone up there that makes sense. Yosivas, Downs, Kupp, Brown. No, not a lot that's making sense here. Oh man, this is tough. So if we had a few more hundred, we could go with like a Mitchell. So this is tough. Can we go? Nothing like stands out. So what if we get off Dart? Let's go cheaper. Let's throw like a solo Mariota, and then we get 47, and then we could get a like an N9 Mitchell then, and then we have 300. So don't have a double stack of anybody. So we just naked Marcus Mariota if we wanted to. We could probably move some stuff around. We could go cheaper. I think maybe 300. That would put us at 600. No, we can't really go cheaper. I kind of like where we're at right now. So just pretty good example of some pieces that I like in this one. Like I said, Marcus Mariota, we can get off Marcus Mariota and go. I talked about Stroud, so let's just say CJ Stroud and go that. So hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will have my GPP video going out tomorrow on Saturday. So if you guys are looking forward to that, it will be on Saturday. And yet again, hope you guys enjoyed it. See you in the next one.